Hey YouTube, I just got in from my walk and I wanted to come in and make this, I hope it's a quick video before my light gives out. It's still daylight and I want to take advantage of some of this sunlight that we got coming in here. I think I'm going to title this video, Marriage is a Scam. I know what you're thinking, and it's not going to be that kind of video. I'm not going to bash any, it's not going to be a man bashing video, and it's not going to be, lady bashing, none of that. Okay. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about this. It's been on my mind for a couple of days, and I just wanted to jot down some ideas. This is not scripted. I mean, I do have some ideas jotted down, but forgive me at a time if I seem to be rambling, because I probably will be. But I just want to start off by saying, why do people get married? It's an individual thing. People get married for many different reasons. And let me just back up a little bit. I am married. I think you all seen some of my videos, and I've, talked about my husband, mentioned him. I haven't really talked about it, but mentioned him in a couple of videos, probably in every video. So I am married. I've been married for a very long time. So I feel like I'm somewhat of an expert on this subject, but maybe not. Maybe you guys can let me know in the comments what you guys think. But going back to my point, it's like, why do people get married? There's many different reasons. There's financial. People get married because they're attracted to one another. They love each other. Sometimes, not so much today, but back in the day, it used to be, if a young lady got pregnant, she had to get married. Religion. I mean, there's a number of reasons why people decide to get married, right? So you make that, you make that commitment, you make that first step. Okay, boom, let's get married. You have the big, based on one of those reasons, you have the big party. Some people have the big party. Some just go to the justice of the peace, and that's fine too. Nothing wrong with either way. But most people that have the big lavish party, especially nowadays with the younger kids, they have these big lavish parties and the dress and the shoes and the hair and the makeup and the tuxedos and the colors and all this stuff, right? It's very exciting. I mean, you plan the wedding, and it's you invite the people, you have the big party, send out the invitations, you have the food, the whole 9 yards, right? Very exciting. Okay, so you get married, you go on your honeymoon if you have one for some people, okay? And then you go home. I mean, after the honeymoon and after all the hooplas, all that's over, then you got to go home and you got to live your life, right? Reality sets in. And for some people, they're going to probably look like, what the hell have I done? Because once all the glitz and the glamour and all that stuff has kind of gone away and wore off, then you got to live your life, is what I'm trying to say, right? You got to live your life. And you have to learn how to interact and cohabitate with this person, whoever, you married, right? And, I mean, it could be man to man, woman to woman, man to woman, doesn't matter. Marriage is marriage, right? In my opinion, okay? So then, you've got to go and live with this person. And I don't know, it's just been my experience from people that I've talked to. I'm not going to say me, but different people I've talked to, and some of my friends, they say it seems like the minute you sign on that dotted line and the minute you say I do, the other person on the other side that you marry, they become a completely different person. It's like, what? You could have, most people date a year, I don't know, 6 months, 2 years, what have you. You date, there's a dating stage, right? And that person tends to be completely different while dating than they are when you're married, is what I've been hearing, y'all. I don't know. That's what I've been hearing. And sometimes it's a good thing. Most of the time it's not. Most of the time it's, not such a good thing. But regardless, you made a commitment, you signed on the dotted line. And so here comes my next point. Sometimes people feel like they're trapped. Like, what did I do? Like I said, what the hell did I do? I'm trapped. I'm stuck with this person. I said I do. All right, we're committed to each other. We got to make this work, y'all, right? Okay. So then when, the feelings of, you being trapped, and again, you have reality versus what you thought marriage was going to be versus expectations, okay? So that's when the trap, or you feel trapped feeling, comes into place, because when you got married, male or female, mostly I want to say women, we had this fantasy of what we think marriage is going to be like. For us, like I mentioned earlier, we had this big fantasy wedding and the glitz, the glam, the dresses, the shoes, and what have you. We carry that over into real life. A lot of us, not everybody, but a lot of us carry that over into real life. And to us, a married life is an extension of what the wedding was. But reality slaps us in the face and go, oh no, 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 no. This is not what it's going to be like. So on the one hand, I think the men in general, I'm not saying everybody, but in general, generally speaking, I think the men feel trapped and the women just feel bamboozled. It's like, it's like you sold us. A lot of us feel like, again, this is my opinion, but we feel like, okay, you sold us this dream, but then in reality, this is not what's happening. You were Prince Charming while we were dating and while we were planning the wedding and the whole wedding. And then when we get home, you turned into a frog. I'm just telling you, this is just my opinion. Okay? But that's kind of like, I think, how a lot of people feel. And then that's when, coming to my next point, that's when you get a lot of disappointment and disillusionment comes into play. And then that leads into the title of this video, Marriage is a Scam. Because you sold, I'm not going to say you, but a lot of people feel like they were sold on the dream, and then when reality hit, the dream just went away. So it's a scam. Plain and simple. That's why I say it's a scam. And it can be, like I said, on both ends. I think the men feel like it's a scam too, because they will probably tell you that women act one way before marriage, and then also when they get married, they act a different way. But I'm not a guy, so I can't really go into how they feel, so I don't know, but that's kind of like what I hear also. And let's face it, young people are not getting married. I think I was reading an article the other day where it's like, I don't know, some high percentage of young people are they're just not getting married, and they're instead are focusing more on career and making money. Basically, the younger folks are just trying to make that bag. They're just trying to make that money, and so marriage is kind of the last thing on their minds. And then a lot of times the younger people, the younger generation, there's different roles. Their roles are not traditional like it has been in the past. They tend to fall into more non-traditional roles, like where we have the different types of, marriages and same-sex marriages and things like that nowadays. So the marriage rates, they are on the decline. And then people are waiting longer to get married. Excuse me. A lot of people are waiting, until they hit their 40s, or some people even 50 and 60, before they get married for the first time. And a lot of people, men and women both, they just don't see the value in it. So again, going back to my point of marriage is a scam. And marriages, they don't last long nowadays. I mean, that's not a secret. We know the United States, I don't know if they have the highest divorce rate, but I know it's got to be up there. It's, I think it's like up to 50, 60%, for first-time marriages, and second and third marriages are even higher percentage of divorce rates. So I always, and I kind of joke around and I tell some of my friends this, and I'm like, marriage, you need a license, right? You have to have a license to get married. And you need a license to drive. We need a license to go fishing. We need a license to do a lot of things. We need a license to practice medicine. Um, you name it. We need, excuse me, we need a license to do a lot of things. In the United States or elsewhere too. I mean, all over. We need anywhere in the world. You need a license to do things, right? The license for a marriage, though, most licenses, I guess the point I'm trying to make, most licenses, there's an expiration date, right? I know your driver's license, there's one. And some of these other licenses, like fishing license, I think there's one. There's no, I might get a backlash for saying this, but there's no expiration date on a marriage license. So when you go in front of a judge or whoever you go in front of, a preacher or a pastor or whatever, it's death till you part. I mean, I don't know about you, but that don't sound too good to me. But I mean, I always joke around and say, I've always said, I think marriage license should have an expiration date. Once you get to a certain amount of years, whatever the year that would be determined, then you should be able to have the choice to renew it or don't. Renew it, let's keep going, or hey, this is not for me. I decline and I'm not going to renew it, and you go on about your business. To me, that would be like the perfect world. But unfortunately, marriage does not have an expiration date. So I think it should, but that's just my opinion. And another thing with the reason why I say marriage is a scam is that I don't want to, again, take sides, but I am a female, so I have to take the female side. But marriages don't benefit us very much. I'm sorry, guys, but it doesn't. I think as women, we get the short end of the stick. And I think the guys benefit way more than we do. And I'm just, again, generally speaking. But, when the kids come along and, and all that, and you got all that going on, most of the time the women get stuck with the child rearing, everything to do with, with the kid. And the guys, I'm not saying everybody. Again, I'm not saying everybody, but most of the time, the men, they still get to live their life and go off and do what they want to do. And if you have a two-income household, as women, we still gotta go to work. We gotta bring the money home, and then we come home to our second job, which is raising the kids, and we gotta get the dinner on the table, and we gotta get little Johnny off to soccer practice, and we gotta get little Mary, and let's say you got 2 and 3 kids, and little Mary and little, I don't know, fill in the name, we got to take the ballet practice, and you got to go to gymnastics. I mean, it's a lot. And a lot of that, falls on the women. Again, don't hate me in the comments too much, but a lot of it, and for a lot of my friends too, from what I've seen, a lot of that responsibility falls on the woman. And, we have to run the kids around, to do all this stuff. And a lot of times the men, and if, sometimes they check out. Sometimes some men are very, involved in the kids' lives and things like that, but a lot of them aren't. And they check out, and then they use work as an excuse. They stay late at the office, or, sometimes they volunteer for that extra shift because, they just don't want to be involved. Again, I'm not saying everybody's like that, but sometimes, that is the case. So, meanwhile, we're holding down the household, we're rearing the kids, we've got to be the housekeeper, we got to be the cook, the maid, the personal assistant, the secretary, the party planner. I mean, you name it, we've got to hold it down. And it's just not fair, I don't think, in cases like that. And it's just not beneficial, for us. So, again, that's my opinion. So, that's all I'm going to say on that one. But meanwhile, the last point I want to make is that, in doing all this and holding down, the home fires, to keep the home fires burning, as they say, and holding down the household and doing all this stuff, we got to remain feminine and we got to be submissive and, and all this BS. I mean, mm-mm. It's just not, it's just not a good deal. I just think, a lot of times women just get the raw deal. And again, I know it's controversial what I'm saying, and a lot of you are not going to agree with me, but that's fine. Again, this is just my opinion. But I say all that to say, ladies, if you're listening to this, to go back to my point, the reason why I think marriage is, these are all of my reasons of why I think marriage is a scam. And I just want to, end this video by saying, don't give up on yourself. I mean, when I say that, I mean, be independent, because I know when the kids come and you get married and you get bogged down with all that stuff, we tend to lose ourselves. And I want to say, don't lose yourself. Take time for yourself. Maintain your independence if you can. Have a hobby. Make sure, if you can work outside of the home, make sure you work outside of the home, or maintain some type of skill that can be useful in case the marriage doesn't work out. And, you find yourself being a single parent, or you find yourself being by yourself, that you can hold it down financially, that you can take care of yourself, or you can take care of your kids. And, excuse me, you don't have to rely on someone financially to take care of you. But that's all I'm going to say on this one. I appreciate if you guys would like or subscribe, and, give me a couple of comments if you think this, this is terrible. This is a terrible video, and, why did you say all that stuff? That's fine. I welcome those types of opinions too. But let's just have a chat about it in the comments and just let me know what you guys think. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and we still got light. Yay. So I'm gonna go ahead and sign off on this video, and I hope you all have a good evening, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Goodbye.